Welcome to 365 English. Listen to stories easily. We help you learn English happily through various stories. The speed is slow and the pronunciation is clear. The more you listen, the more you will enjoy it. If you like it, please like it, leave a message to chat, and don't forget to subscribe. From War to Hope, the sad beginning of International Children's Day. On June 10, 1942, the village of Lidice in Czech was crushed by the Nazi Iron Hoof. More than 140 men were shot, and the village was reduced to ashes. All bobbies were slaughtered, and women were sent to concentration camps. 90 children were abducted, and only a few survived. This massacre shocked the world and exposed the cruelty of war. During World War II, children became the most innocent victims. War, poverty, and disease deprived them of their childhood. In the ruins of Europe, orphans wandered the streets, suffering from hunger and cold. In the villages of Asia, children died of hunger. In the land of Africa, diseases took away countless young lives. The shadow of war shrouded the world, and the future of children was bleak. In 1945, World War II ended, but the trauma was far from healed. Millions of children lost their parents and were displaced. They longed for food, warmth, and a safe embrace. The international community began to face up to the survival crisis of children. The United Nations was established to try to bring peace to the world. However, the road to post-war reconstruction is long and difficult. The laughter of children seems so far away in the ruins. Who will protect these childhoods destroyed by war? In November 1949, the Moscow Conference ignited hope. The International Democratic Women's Federation gathered representatives from various countries. They angrily exposed the destruction of children by war. The Lidice tragedy became a symbol of accusation of war. The meeting decided that June 1st of each year would be International Children's Day. On this day, mourn the children in Lidice and the world's war. On this day, call for the protection of children's right to survival. On this day, advocate children's right to health care and education. The birth of International Children's Day originated from a tragic starting point. It is not only a commemoration, but also a commitment to the future. From then on, June 1st became the light of hope for children. Survivor's memory, Marie's post-war rebirth. Marie, one of the few surviving children in Lidice village. In 1942, she was only 8 years old and witnessed the destruction of her home. Her father was shot and her mother was sent to a concentration camp. She and her sister were forcibly taken away and sent to a strange place. The days in the concentration camp were like a nightmare, with fear everywhere. Hunger tortured her and the cold was unbearable. Marie's sister died of illness and her heart was broken. She thought she would never see the sun tomorrow. In 1945, the Allies liberated the concentration camp. Marie was rescued, but her home was no longer there. She was sent to temporary shelter alone. Post-war Czechoslovakia was devastated and needed to be rebuilt. Marie felt helpless and the future was a fog. However, assistance from the international community gradually arrived. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, was established. They provided food, clothing, and shelter for orphans. Mary ate hot bread for the first time. She was sent to a temporary school to study. The teacher's warm smile made her feel safe. Volunteers taught her to draw and depict the hope in her heart. Mary drew the blue sky and her family on the drawing paper. Although her family had passed away, she began to believe in the future. International aid made her feel the love of the world. In 1949, the news of International Children's Day came. Mary learned that this was to commemorate children like her. She burst into tears but also felt strong in her heart. Children's Day is not only a commemoration of the past. It is the protection of the right to survival of all children. Mary grew up to become a teacher. She used her story to inspire more children. From war to hope, Mary witnessed rebirth. International Children's Day carries her tears and dreams. Voice of 2025, Children in War and Poverty. In 2025, the world is still not completely free from war. Children in Ukraine struggle to survive in conflict. According to UNICEF, child casualties in Ukraine surged in 2024. More than 2,520 children were killed or injured. A kindergarten in Odessa was bombed. 250 young children lost their safe learning environment. Schools were forced to move underground and classrooms became shelters. Nearly 40% of Ukrainian children can only learn online. The war deprives them of their right to a normal childhood. 3.3 million children have been displaced by conflict. They huddle in makeshift camps longing for warmth. UNICEF's report is heartbreaking. The psychological trauma of Ukrainian children is getting worse. 1/3 of children feel desperate and sad. The war not only destroys homes but also destroys hope. The problem of child labor in Africa is equally worrying. UNICEF data shows that in sub-Saharan Africa, 1 in every 4 children is engaged in child labor. They are deprived of education and trapped in dangerous labor. Mining, agriculture, construction, child labor is everywhere. In 2025, there are still 160 million child laborers in the world. Poverty and conflict are the main causes of child labor. These children's childhoods are ruthlessly deprived. The significance of International Children's Day is therefore even more profound. It reminds us that children's rights still need to be defended. From Ukraine to Africa, children need protection. UNICEF calls for global action. Provide education and psychological support for children in war. Create opportunities for child laborers to escape poverty. In 2025, Children's Day is not just a celebration. It is a wake-up call for the survival plight of children around the world. From sadness to hope, the eternal mission of Children's Day. The starting point of International Children's Day is full of sadness. The blood and tears of Liddus have become scars of history. The decision in 1949 ignited the fire of hope. It made the world pay attention to the survival crisis of children. Mary's story is a microcosm of countless children. Coming out of the flames of war, she found a new life. The care of the international community changed her destiny. Children's Day has thus become a symbol of hope. In 2025, the challenges remain severe. Ukrainian children struggle in the flames of war. African child laborers suffer in poverty. But hope has never been extinguished and action is being taken. UNICEF's mobile medical team rushed to the front line. They brought warmth to Ukrainian children. Education projects open up the future for African child laborers. The mission of International Children's Day has never changed. It calls for the protection of the rights of every child. The right to survival, the right to health care, and the right to education are all indispensable. From Liddus in 1942 to today in 2025, Children's Day carries the interweaving of sadness and hope. It reminds us that the shadow of war is still there. But human care can light up the future. Every child deserves a childhood. Every child should be protected by the world. International Children's Day is a commemoration of the past. It is also a solemn commitment to the future. Let us join hands to create hope for children. Let the flames of war no longer devour their dreams. Let poverty no longer deprive them of their smiles. From sorrow to hope, Children's Day will never end. You did a great job today. Thank you for watching 365 English. Don't forget to like, leave a message, and comment. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.